Hi, my dear Astro family. Today I wanted to make a quick video about King Charles III. You might be thinking that this is too quick and maybe disrespectful. Um, but I did want to make this video because I think, a life or a death of a person is about celebration. And I understand that the queen was, a person who were liked by many people, and most likely she also had her enemies too. But that's the nature of life, right? So whether we liked her or not, a human being has passed away, and it is always a tragedy. Of course, she had a long life, whether it was beautiful or not, it depends, but she chose this karma. And whether she fulfilled her karma or not, she will see it, when she comes back. But, I made this video about Mercury retrograde almost 3 weeks ago. And I did mention in that video that most likely the headlines are gonna be full of the Queen's death. And to be frank, I kind of expected it to be a rumor or something which, yeah, in a sense it's just gonna become a popular topic again. What is gonna be happening, if the queen passes away, and those type of topics. I did not look at her chart, and I still did not look at it because I never tend to look at death in the chart. But I wanted to look at King Charles' chart as well as the date of the coronation, because it might be giving us some clues of what England is expecting. Now, it might be the case that I'm going to be doing a couple of other videos about this, because today I wanted to look at King Charles and the coronation, and maybe I also want to be looking at England's chart because this will be affecting, at least kind of like 17 other countries and Commonwealth and so forth. So obviously, it's going to bring huge changes, which might be affecting the world also. Now, the coronation itself took place on 10th of September at 11 o'clock. Now, what was very interesting is that we have had just a full moon happening. So the full moon is always about completion, coming to an end and starting kind of like a new era. It's kind of like shining the light on certain type of issues and positive matters as well. Because it happened in the sign of Pisces, it is about karmic endings, but as well as the service to others. Now, what we see in this chart is that it's actually bang on trining his sun. So it's the sun is in the sign of Scorpio, which is shining the light on our powerful self. The sun in the sign of Scorpio is about coming to terms with your own power. It is about letting go of certain type of fears actually you might be having. Sun in Scorpio is here to become an alchemist, to become as powerful as possible, to become fearless and somehow to inspire others to also tap into their own power. Now, his sun is actually on 22 degree 25 minutes. So it's a Piscean dwat. So he's meant to serve others through power, to unite power, because the Piscean energy is about unification, compassionate love. We're talking about life mission here. This can be seen also by North Node and the dispositor of the sun, as well as something to do with the closest aspect of the sun, just those who are curious how to look at your life mission. And also if there are any planets around angles, as well as, yeah, kind of like the ruler of the rising sign too. Now, the dispositor of this Scorpio sun is Mars, which is in the sign of Sagittarius. That kind of also supports the idea of uniting nations, bringing cultural differences closer. So that's what he is born for. Now, whether he's going to do that or not, of course, it depends on transits, progression, solar arc, us people, whether we accept it or not, him, whether he wants to tap into his own karmic journey or not. What I don't like there, to be frank, in this case, is that we do have got a Jupiter on 29 degree in the sign of Sagittarius. That's a very strong Jupiter. And like each archetypes, they have got their positive and negative manifestations. That Jupiter on 29 degree can indicate that my karmic destiny is about to become confident, as well as to become the king of the jungle, if you like it. This is also supported by his Pluto Ceres conjunction around his rising sign anyway. Leo, as in the sign of kings, the kingdom. But the other side of that Jupiter is that we can kind of become greedy with it. Because obviously the shadow side of that Scorpio and Taurus axis, what he has, is that he might be having some kind of like hunger towards money or power. On top of that, we do have got Sun and Chiron conjunction in his natal chart too, which really talks about lack of self-esteem, or he doesn't know how powerful he can be. So, I mean, he is in his 70s, so hopefully he learned all these type of lessons. But that Sun and Chiron could really talk about the fear of shining, some psychological trauma he had to go through in regards to his family, his father, and so on. This is more like an educational video rather than I want to tell you about his life and what was going on. I'm just really seeing what I kind of see in the chart, but I did not really look into actually what was going on in his childhood and so forth. So forgive me for that. I'm sure you guys can actually help us out. But I would like to ask everyone to refrain themselves from any type of political matters, whether, oh, I hate this, I hate that, I love that. No need for that. This is an astrology channel and we are here to learn. So, as I mentioned, each planet have got their positive and negative side. So, I love that Jupiter, but there is an element of a greed involved there. So, if he is going overboard with certain type of decisions, which a Mars and Jupiter conjunction have got the tendency to do anyway, then this could bring some political conflicts later on. This is also happening in the fifth house natally, which kind of like I usually describe the fifth house as the boardroom of the CEOs, the leader of the countries. So I kind of feel like he is gonna want to somehow unite certain type of nations surely. What else do we see? We see that actually we have got the North Node in the 10th house with the moon. So he is here to be liked by people. He's here to make other people's life more comfortable. He's here to learn to be a people person, to claim power, to assure people with words about his intentions. That North Node is on Gemini Dwat. So somehow it's about the neighborhood and the lands are somehow huge topic here. So he might want to get some lands back, which previously belonged to England and it doesn't anymore. We will see how it plays out, but that could be something he might have got in mind. Another thing which I've noticed straight away is that obviously he's going to be having a nodal return happening next year, sometimes in May, April, May. Nodal return happens approximately every 18 to 19 years. So a cycle is coming to an end and the new one is actually starting. Now, in that case, you always need to look back what was going on approximately 18, 19 years ago, because this is going to tell you what you should be expecting. So we approximately talking about 2004, 2005. I did not have the time to look up what was going on in his life, so I recommend kind of doing that. But he should be experiencing something similar. He was also born around an eclipse, and it was actually a total eclipse to be precise. So those people who have those people who were born around eclipse, usually they tend to be having kind of like this karmic feeling about their destiny. They tend to have a lot more chaotic life as well, with loads of ups and downs also. But also, people with eclipse in their natal chart are here to achieve something big, especially if they fall into angular house. I do use whole sign house system. So in this system, it falls into angular houses because this is the fourth and the 10th. What else is the Scorpio and Taurus axis? Well, it's about money, taxes, inheritance. So he might want to regulate something around taxes, inheritance, but also the shadow side of that is something to do with revenge and trust issues. And the fact that it's the fourth and the 10th house, which is something to do with the nation or his own family, it could talk about, for instance, that, oh, I'm going to cut back on the numbers of how much tax people should be paying, or I'm going to increase it, right? With these eclipses, we can go really to the extremes. It could also talk about that, you know what, I want to get rid of some politicians. I'm not happy with them. That's a possibility. It could talk about that I want to be looking at wealth of others, or I want to be supporting my own wealth also. Maybe it looks at the fact that, you know what, why does this person belong to the royal family? I don't agree with that. Why do they use, I don't know, these people, the taxpayers' money and so forth? So plenty of ideas around that fourth and the 10th house. What I kind of feel like it, to be honest, that he's gonna have some type of clashes with his family members also. The shadow side of these is about fear, some shady ideas actually. And this is really supported by the fact that Black Moon Lilith on the day of his coronation was right on his rising sign. And Black Moon Lilith really talks about subconscious matters, fears, the shadow side, shadow intentions. So Black Moon Lilith is going to play an extremely important role during his rulership. That's the transit to look out for in the near future, because that's going to talk to us about what to expect also in the entire UK. How I see Black Moon Lilith is that obviously it is someone who wants to be on power, but always have an argument with man because they don't allow to be on power. We're talking about kind of like sexual power games here with Black Moon Lilith. So I'm just again wondering what's going to be the role of Camilla, of course, because I kind of feel like that maybe this Black Moon Lilith is somehow describing her also. By the way, Black Moon Lilith can really talk about scandal. So I'm expecting some type of scandal around him surely. Also, you can see that he has got a Ceres return going on. Now, Ceres is about agriculture, weather and climate changes. It's something to do with public service, really. So why I find it extremely interesting is because it's free series. It's kind of like free series, free ladies, if you like it. We've got the transit series, we've got the natal series, and then we've got the progress series, all crammed around the 2021 degree. So it's kind of like free female archetype, and we do know the story about Ceres. It's about being angry about my daughter being abducted. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how that series comes into the picture. But I kind of feel like it's definitely showing a new era, but it's also showing that there's gonna be some effort around the agricultural issues to be resolved. Pluto and Ceres are in conjunction in his chart. So it talks about powerful agriculture, but it could also talk about a powerful nation. Because Ceres also represents lands. So his chart is somehow it really is pointing towards power to kind of become the biggest nation or the most influential nation. The sign of Leo, which is king, rulers of the world. Um, Also, what I've seen here is that solar arc Saturn will be on his sun in 2 years' time. Now, it might be talking about restriction in his kingdom, social status, but also it can actually indicate vitality. I kind of feel like this is going to be vitality, by the way, because Saturn rules his sixth house and Sun rules the first. So that might be just something to do with a slight, kind of like it might be something to do with sickness, really. I also found interesting that in the coronation chart, we do have got Mercury in stationary position. Now, the very last time when we had stationary Mercury, in political events, that was around the voting in USA. We know that there were delays of counting the voting. It can actually indicate some type of voting which will be coming up, not necessarily about him, but maybe, somehow related to England. But also, it could show some type of delays with his service to the public also. Also, I find it very interesting that we've got Aries and Juno conjunction on the midheaven. I don't necessarily like that position really, especially because Jupiter is transiting that right now. So it really kind of talks about how divided his personality will be in the world, as in ninth house, the kind of like the universe. And with Aries, there is always some type of discord and disagreement to be expected. And Juno is something to do with our partners, not just romantic partners, but business partners, kind of like contractual agreements. So I think next year we might be seeing some issues around that when Jupiter also comes back. I also see that progress Mercury conjuncts transit Saturn, and Mercury rules the 11th house. Again, a society, a community related topic. And Saturn brings blockages in that area. Progressed Moon is on 21 degree of Capricorn, where Saturn-Pluto conjunction happened in 2020. So, and that Moon is going to be coming into conjunction with Pluto in approximately about 8 months' time. So the power of people, it's going to be happening in a sign of Aquarius. It could actually show some type of demonstrations, really. But also Pluto will be conjuncting his progress Sun sometimes in 2026, again, shows maybe power struggles or stepping into some type of power, or even it could talk about some vitality issues in his life too. So I just wanted to make a short video about him and, maybe a slight prediction, what we should be expecting. But I think I might do a longer video so that you guys can prepare. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.